Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to do an oil painting, and it's a painting that I did about, 2006. And so it's a very old painting, but I wanted to try to do it again today, but I'm going to try to change it from a summer scene to a winter scene. So that's going to be our challenge today. We're going to do it on 11 by 14 canvas, using the Bob Ross techniques pretty much on everything, using his brushes and paint. So I want to go show you what I did with the photograph and how I modified it and what we're using for our reference photos. They are links down below that you can pick those up and use those for your own reference. So let me go back to the computer here and I will be right with you. Hold on. Okay, here I am at the computer, and here's the reference photo. As I said, it was originally painted in July of 2006, I believe, and so it was a summer scene, but it has some depth in it, has some nice colors there in the background, so it gives that atmospheric perspective which we like to get. I also did a grid, and that's what's been up on the screen here for a while we were waiting. It's a 4x5 grid which fits nicely on my 11 by 14 canvas. You can get this grid on any of your paintings, photos that you have, by going to griddrawingtool.com. They have a very easy interface. You upload your image, you make some adjustments to it, you put a grid on it, size the grid, decide how many divisions and partitions you want in that grid, and then download the image, and that's what you have. That's what this particular image is. So in addition to that, I did my value map, which you see me do fairly often. I don't do it on all paintings, but this one kind of lent itself to it. So we have some very nice lights and mediums and dark values that we're going to try to adhere to. And to help us do that and to help us change it into a winter scene, I took the photo into Photoshop, as I often do, and desaturated it, took all the color out, basically turned it into a black and white photo. And this is one of the reference photos I have at the top of my easel, and we'll be using that to work from, to kind of figure out where the best lights are and where the darkest darks are. This really helps in that regard. So that's pretty much what I want to show you here at the computer. I'm going to go back over to the easel and we'll go through the paints and brushes and we'll get started painting. Okay, I'm back here at the easel now, and we will start going through these. I have my, as you can see here, I have my liquid white in the center here, which is always something we use with the Bob Ross wet on wet method. It works very well. Put that aside, and I'll go through the paints. We're using Bob Ross paints here with the exception of one paint. And we don't have a full palette of colors either. These are mostly the cool colors. I've got a couple warm colors here, but pretty much these are all cool colors which we're going to use to make this a winter scene. So I have titanium white, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, midnight black, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, alizarin crimson. Don't have sap green, no cad yellow. I put a little yellow ochre in there. I don't know if I'll need that or not. No Indian yellow, and I put a little bright red here. I don't know if I'll need that or not. Those are all Bob Ross colors. I also have ultraviolet, which I use from time to time. It's a Grumbacher color, and it helps get some nice purples and mauve type colors that we like to use. So that's the palette. The brushes, as you can see a few of here, I have the large 2-inch brush that Bob Ross always used. I have the 1-inch brush. I have a couple of these round, half round brushes that I may use. Have several fan brushes here, like I think I have 5 that I may use. Those are really good for doing the snow scenes and to doing the trees and that sort of thing. The trees that we have in the reference photo have a lot of leaves on them. Probably not going to have that many leaves, so we're probably going to use some highlights with these brushes. I have a couple of the filbert brushes here that are Bob Ross brushes as well, and they're like a number 6 filbert in size. And then I have my trusty painting knife, and I just realized I didn't have out my script liner, which I always have to sign the painting and maybe do some fine details in the tree. Is certainly going to need these probably in the some of the branches and that sort of thing. So that's all I want to show you there. I want to get this ready to go now. I'm going to zoom my camera in and move it over so we can see the palette and see the canvas. Just about like that. Move it over slightly. That way, there we go. Okay, so you can see almost all of that canvas. And I think it's a little bit off maybe. Just move it over slightly. Make sure it's in the screen. Okay, there we go. So now we are going and we're ready to go. So I'm going to get my, I think I'm going to just get this big brush. And you see I have on my canvas, I have the gray gesso, which I put on a lot of my canvases. I use the white general pencil to sort of sketch in where things go. The main thing I want to keep track of is where the horizon line is. It's about maybe I don't know, less than halfway up here, maybe a little more than 2/3. And it's about 40, 60 maybe, I would say. I want to make sure I have that horizon below the middle. I don't want it on the middle. I don't want it below, at the middle. And so we're going to give the sky a nice treatment back here with the white. And I'll paint right over this. That's one of the, I consider it kind of a disadvantage with the Bob Ross painting method, wet on wet, is that it's kind of hard to use a sketch because you just paint right over it. It's gone. So if you want to use a sketch, you can. I just would not put white all over the entire painting when I want to use a sketch. This is not that complicated a painting. We don't have any buildings or anything that is going to require a certain specific type of architecture. So we can just kind of go over this. I'm going to put this in the center, put it all over here. I'm going to cover up that white gesso as much as, or the gray gesso as much as possible. Put some down here in the area where we're going to have the water. And if you notice the black and white image that I had, this is pretty much the layout of where the lightest lights are right now. This is the stream that kind of comes around here like this and goes off the canvas down here on the left side. I'm going to put this in behind these trees so we can have some show through, because we're making this a winter scene, and when you do that, you're not going to have as many leaves on it because these trees happen to be all deciduous trees, which means the leaves come off in the winter. And so I'll leave it like that. If I need a little more liquid white, I'll maybe put some in down here to give a little more depth in behind these trees here. But I can at least leave part of my sketch on there, so at least I know where some things go. So that's pretty much the background, the liquid white application, and we're ready to go now with some colors. This brush, I'm going to just keep it, not wash it out yet, not wipe it out, and I want to just go right into some ultraviolet here and pick that up, get a nice bit of paint on here. I was watching a few of the Bob Ross videos. His entire library is on YouTube, in case you guys don't know that. You can watch every season, every episode is out there, and it kind of gives you inspiration for things you'd like to paint. And I saw one that looked similar to this, and I remembered this painting that I did, so I went back and dug it out of my archives, and sure enough, there it was. Need more violet than that. This white takes up a lot of the color when you put these paints on, so you have to kind of put more paint in your brush than you might otherwise put in your brush. And I'm going to make it a little darker in some of these areas because it's going to be dark. These corners are going to be darker. But it lets us get a nice covering on here. I'm going to run it all the way down to the horizon just to sort of make sure we have some good coverage. But add maybe just a little of the phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is a very vibrant and potent color. It does take over any color you mix with it pretty much. If you're not careful, you can really get a lot of difficulties with it. So I'm going to try it up here. Just sort of mix it in some places to show we have some blue sky maybe floating around in a few places. Go right over that violet, even a little more. You know, when Bob Ross paints his paintings, he has that huge palette that he holds on his arm, and he puts huge amounts of paint on his palette, so it really facilitates putting this big brush in there and getting a lot of paint on the canvas. This makes a nice soft sky. I'm going to just keep this brush the way it is. I think I want a little more color in there. It looks kind of bland to me right now. I'm going to come back with my ultraviolet, get some more, see if I can darken that down just a little in some spots. I want it to be kind of darker at the top and kind of fade to lighter colors as it gets toward the horizon here. And the blue, same way. I'm going to put this little more blue in here and just kind of darken these colors just a little more. I'm going to cover a lot of that sky up on the sides anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I am going to put some now in the water, and I'm going to start it from the down here maybe, and start working up. And add a little more violet to that. That way we can get the colors in the water that appear in the sky. Make sure they're all sort of, don't want hard lines in here. Okay, so how's that for a sky? I'm going to put some clouds in here. We didn't have clouds in that photograph. Well, there was a few. It was hard to tell if there were clouds or just the way the paint came off the brush. But I'm going to use a little titanium white now. I'm still using this big 2-inch brush on 11 by 14 canvas. And so we're going to just put in a few things here that are going to show up between the trees. And hope you can see those. Run a few off the top here. Put those circles in there. You can't even hardly see that, can you? I have a monitor behind me here that I keep checking to see what you're seeing. Hopefully I'm seeing what you're seeing. Get some bright colors in there. Get some bright clouds, tops on these clouds. And come back and we'll put just a few of some shadows under them. I am going to cover that up with some trees over here on this side, but I want to have something going on here that kind of looked like there was more than just a blank area up there at the top. I haven't washed this brush out. I did wipe it out a little bit, but it's still basically what I had in it when I started putting the background on with the liquid white. Put a little bit of midnight black in this brush now, and we're going to come in here and put just a few dark shadows under there. Need to get more paint than that. So a few of these in there like that. Just float a few of them across. Don't need a lot, just enough to kind of give those clouds some dimension. Come back and wash this brush out a little bit, or at least wipe it out really well. And now probably could use a different brush. Matter of fact, I should use a different brush because I don't want to. I'm going to use this little 1-inch brush and just use it as my blending brush and just sort of take some of the rough edges off, make it smooth like that. I think we need a few more tops on these clouds up here in some areas. this, just give it some more texture in there. Put some more stuff that makes it look like we really have some clouds. They have to show up, and if I don't make them show up, they're going to be there, something like that. Then wipe that brush out. If you have any comments or questions, we have a chat window here open that you can talk to me. I have a computer by my left elbow, and I can see what you write. If you're liking what I'm doing, well, I got this. I'm going to put a little alizarin down at the horizon. Just see if I can warm that up just a little bit. Here's the horizon right down here. So we'll just put a little bit of this in there, adding some more color, sort of blend that up into the rest of that sky, blend it down. Okay, so now we have a pretty decent looking sky with a nice kind of a cool horizon. Using alizarin crimson is a cool red color, so it's going to give us more compatibility than using that orangey red. That the bright red is more of an orangey red, and typically don't want that when you're trying to make a cool painting. But so anyway, I'm trying to get a lot of depth in here. Instead of putting in some big mountains in the background or whatever, I'm just trying to do it with value changes. With the horizon and as these blend together, they all look like it's going back very far in the distance. So anyway, that's enough of that. Let me clean out a brush or two here and get ready to go to the next step. So that's your first step on this process. Get that sky in, get the clouds in, get some background in there, get a nice horizon line, put some initial colors in for the stream that's going to be coming down the center of the canvas, and got that pretty well clean. So let's keep going. What's next? Well, I think those background trees are what's next. This whole area back here, we're going to have some nice trees back there, and I'm going to try, I think I'm going to use this half round brush, and I'm going to get some gray, some trees that are sort of a gray color. I'm going to use titanium white, mix it with my midnight black, maybe add a little violet in there. Has to be darker than the sky or you won't see it. No, you've heard me say that many times before. Get some paint in that brush, stab it down in there. It's one of the things I'd forgotten how Bob Ross always does that. He pushes that brush down into the paint to get it up into those bristles, and I'd noticed I'd kind of gotten lax in doing that in some of my Bob Ross paintings. Okay, so right about in here somewhere, we're going to put in some trees that are sort of they have something going on. They may just be fine trees that are left. We don't know if there's leaves on them or not. We don't really care. They're so far back we can't quite tell. But as I put this in, you can see we're getting some nice soft trees back there, and they're in the distance, so let's keep them back there. Okay, so we don't have to do a whole lot more there. The only next step is to bring some forward and get a little darker color. I'm going to use some of my violet, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, get a little brown going here, a grayish brown, violetish brown, a little black in there maybe. I want something that's darker than what I have because I'm going to put another layer of trees in front of those. So here we go, right in about here. I think I'd look good with a little bit of alizarin in there. Warm it up a little bit. The stuff over here on the left I don't care that much about. It's going to be covered up for the most part. But let's use a little violet, a little bit of alizarin, a little bit of black, a little bit of a dark sienna. And we'll come across here and put a few more things in it. Look like some trees over there. The more I hit it, so watch how if I keep hitting on this, what happens? It just all turns to white. It looks like mist. That's because I have that under layer of white underneath there, that liquid white. So I can show you some darker tops and still make the bottoms look like they have some mist in them. If they don't have enough mist, I can always touch it with just a little bit of my liquid white and come back and make it look more misty back there. And notice one of my previous videos I did not long ago where I was doing a lot of this stippling, this pounding on the canvas. The video came out very poor. It just picked up these loud poundings, and they were actually sometimes out of sync. When I would push like this, the video would record it, but then after I stopped pounding, the video kept on making noises, and I found out that was a problem with my video editing software, which I didn't expect to have a problem with. And I think I know how to fix it, but if this video, if I don't have an out of sync condition with my pounding and so forth with this, you'll know I fixed it. Otherwise, you may have to endure that one more time. I don't know. I'm going to put a few more trees in here just to make another layer of background trees. These are getting a little closer, so I'm using more black now, a little more black and brown. They get closer, they get more distinct, get more color, and so it just looks like tons of trees back there in the distance. Okay, I think that's enough time pounding. I want to get my little script liner here and maybe put a few trees there in that background, branches or trunks, that sort of thing. The script liner here. You always want to, when you're doing this with script liner, you always want to get very wet. Very, very wet, so that the paint is a lot like ink almost. And roll the brush around in it, get a very nice fine point. You can come back here and start putting in a few little tree-like things back here that kind of stand out in the background. And there's other ways to do this. You can also use your knife and scrape in some trees. And I just want to throw in a few of these right now while we're here, while we're in the background, while we're thinking about it, because if I get thinking about other stuff, I'll forget it. And since I'm not teaching a class in front of live people, I sometimes forget. When I had my classes that I taught in a live class setting, I would always have somebody responsible to tell me when to quit or remind me if I'm forgetting to put something in, and always helped. Okay, so just something like that to show this is a lot of trees going on back there. And I'm come down this way, put a few in this here. And the other thing I mentioned, you could always use your palette knife and come in. If you want some white trunks, you can come in here and put in the little scrapes like this and pull out some white. Got to have some dark behind it or it won't show up, right? So something like that. Doesn't have to be a lot. You don't want those to overtake because they gets to be sort of contrived. So let's stop with that. Cyber Zombie, well, thank you. Zombie, thank you. Videos are helpful. Glad you like them. Glad you're here. and I hope you give them a try. Okay, now we're ready to start bringing some snow forward, and I'm going to get my fan brush here, and we're going to start bringing some of this snow. Snow's going to go all the way back. It's going to come down here. We're going to have a lot of snow in here, so I'm going to get my titanium white, put maybe just a little blue in it to sort of blue it down just a little in the background there. Maybe a little violet, I don't know. But we're going to start over in here somewhere. We're going to start putting in that layer of snow, the first layer back there. And this comes down to the water. And we got snow coming in from the other side. And that snow, that brush is picking up the paint underneath. Some of this is going to be covered over here on the right. I'm not too worried about this over here. I'm going to darken all that down, have some trees over it, but I want to have that snow going behind these trees back there, because that's going to give us some more depth, and it's always pleasant to look through a tree scene like this and see the snow back there and see the trees that you can see through. So just put a few layers of this back there. I'm keeping, it's not perfectly white. I'm keeping it a little bit of color in it for a reason. This needs to be narrower back there. Let's pull this over just a little. Make it narrower and get wider as it comes toward us. Okay. Have some lighter areas and darker areas. We're going to have some, we want to show some places where there's dips and valleys and that sort of thing here. And we're going to, and this water could be frozen over a little bit in some areas, so we want to reflect that. Let's see, down here, put a little more violet, a little blue, I don't know. Bring it out here. Some of these, the violet and the blue are what I'm using to sort of make the dips in the snow, to make it look like we're kind of carving that bank back there with some dark shadowy colors. The liquid white. Liquid white always helps the paint go on much smoother. And that's really why this wet and wet is used a lot, because it you get one layer on there, and then you have a lot more easy to put on the next layer, because you're not painting on dry canvas. Over here, where I don't have any, it's taking a lot of paint over here, so I can always use that liquid white to sort of thin it down, that sort of thing. Okay, we got some rocks and stuff down in here. This bank really goes up kind of like that. All right, let's hold off on that just a little bit. I'll come back to that. And we're going to have some snow over here on the left side, a little more. We're going to have some bushes and stuff in here. This is sort of a cliff that kind of comes down, about like that. All right, I'm going to pick up some of this brown and maybe throw a little in here to kind of remind me where the darks go. In here, it sort of comes out and down like that. It's just sort of a placeholder right now, and we're going to have some dark, muddy areas over here that are left over that don't have a lot of snow on them yet. So I'll just kind of put in some things to hold the place there for a little bit, and kind of helps me remember what goes where. Okay, so back here in the background, Lindy, welcome. Glad you can make it. I know it's late there in South Africa, but I'm really happy you're here. I'm going to feather this back to right now. That kind of looks all kind of run together, but we're going to come in here and put some dark banks in there to sort of define this edge as it comes around. I've got some big trees we're going to put in here. I've got a bunch more trees that are kind of in the background here. So how am I going to do those? Let's see. The big trees along here, in the photo they have a lot of branches and trees or leaves on them, but I'm going to try to make them a little sparser. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of this brown going. Dark sienna, just a little bit of liquid white in it, maybe to kind of loosen it up so that it goes on faster. Maybe a little midnight black. I'm using this half round brush again, and we're going to come in here. We're going to start coming down this way, like that. And I'm just picking up a number of colors here: alizarin, dark sienna, Van Dyke, that sort of stuff. And I'm just going to pop them in here, and we're going to run them down a little bit below here, actually. I got Van Dyke brown, dark sienna with some white in it. Now I'm going to come back and put some more midnight black over that to sort of give me some depth and have these sort of hang out like this. So that's making a little bit of a darker, it's darker than what's behind it. Not much, but a little bit. And so it's going to stand out from what's behind it. That comes over about, actually it comes over a lot further than that if I now look at the photograph better. And something like that. Yeah, it has sort of an oval shape here in the center that's so I'm using the dark sienna, a little alizarin to give me some warmth and red, and then I'm using the midnight black and Van Dyke brown to give me the cooler colors. Okay, that's good enough for that right now, although I'm going to go put a little more black in there just to darken it just a little more in some areas, particularly over here. If you go off the canvas, I want that to be really dark over there, much darker than it is. So I could put some blue in it, but I don't want to make it too bluish. Okay, I'll leave that. The other side, I'm going to pretend has a little more light on it over here on the left side. So let's take those and let's lighten them up just a little with some white, titanium white, violet, a little bit of liquid white, make these more of a grayish color maybe. Let's see what happens if we go right here like that. We'll leave some holes in there for the sky to show through. And ultraviolet, Van Dyke, brown, midnight black, a little bit of titanium white to lighten it up so that it's not really real dark. Okay, we're getting some nice differences in value there. I see it on the monitor. I hope you can see that. Hi Elaine, welcome. Well, thank you for your comments. So we're trying to leave some holes so the sky can show through, but I'm trying to get some dark in there as well so that I can show some depth. If you get 2 or 3 values in your objects, you can definitely show 3-dimensionality. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have the sky that's got 1 value, I've got the trees that have another value, and then I've got some the black, dark that's got some more value. Let's see here, I don't want that to be too black. All right, so that's sort of a nice winter looking scene, I would say, compared to our original photograph for sure. All right, now we've got some trees embedded in here, and I want to get some of those in before we come too much farther down the canvas. How we doing? Been going 32 minutes. See, I think old Bob Ross would have been done by now. But I'm going to get some trees, and you know what? I think I'm going to use my palette knife instead. Put these big trees in. We'll put some other trees behind. In the woods back in here. We'll put a few, can't see that. Used to be a lot darker. Put a few trees back here. Something like that. Maybe a few. That brush is really widened out. I want to have a thinner. Something like that. Probably it's best to use my script liner here, because I can make them whiter with a script liner, but it's hard to make them skinnier with that fan brush. So let's see what I can do with the script liner here. I can always make them fatter by pushing down, pulling up, pushing down, pulling up. Something like that. Give some few dark trees in the background here. Middle ground actually is what we're talking about here. These trees, a couple of them are going to come all the way down here. Some are going to be stuck back there in the background. Over here we've got the same thing going on. I'm going to get me some good middle ground trees back here. And just put in some things that look like they're trees that belong in that woods over there on the left. This over here looks like it's a little too, there we go. Something like that. All right, leave that for now. Let's get our trusty palette knife here. I'm gonna see if I can get a nice color that's gonna show up. Put some more white in it. And let's see if we can start like right about in here maybe. Get some black on there. Okay. The other side and put a few. Okay, that's a rough looking tree, isn't it? Pretty nice, I like that. Got another one over here. I'm going to use some mixture of my purple and titanium white. See if I can get a nice color here on the knife. Get that little roll of paint there, and let's see. Actually, this is the one I want it to be right here. I want it to be right about this area. See if I can overlay that guy. Okay. Okay. Something like that. I'm going to put another little branch going up here like this. Bring it down, connect. A few marks in there. All right, now I can put some other branches on there with either the script liner or the knife. I think I'm going to put that violet on there. Okay, now let's come back and just put some clear white, put some highlights on the left side of these trees here. I can. See, the knife picks up all that paint that's on the canvas, so you got to wipe the brush off, go back, or wipe the knife off, go back, get some more, get another roll of paint, come back and put a few more. Something like that. Wipe the knife off, get a few more things up there like that, maybe put a couple here, some of these. Wipe the knife, put some on this guy over here, right there. All right. Okay, like that. This guy, I want him to have another little branch of some kind coming out here. Like that, and then he maybe has another small one sticking up here somewhere, like that. Maybe there's another one. I can put a few more in here with that, my script liner here, just to be a good sized tree here. All right, stop and look at that for a minute. I think that's doing what I want it to do. I'm going to put a couple more trees over here on the left side, big ones. I'm going to use my white and violet and see if I can pop another one in right about here. Run these right off the top of the canvas. So I'm going to do it backwards. I'm going to put got the highlight on. I'm going to put the shadow side on back here if I can get some dark enough paint. Using black. That same idea with the roll paint. Back and put it on here like this. Like that. So now you see the lights kind of coming in the middle. All right, got one more tree over here that we're going to work on with titanium white and some other colors. Let's put him in right here. I don't want that to be parallel to the edge of the canvas. I want it to have an angle. Right here. Nope, need more dark paint. There we go. There we go, something like that. Now let's put a couple of branches on there while we got this knife going. Like that. Maybe there's one coming out this way, different angle. Like that. Put one over here that goes a different angle yet. And I can tune that up with my the script liner brush here. Let's see over here. Let's put another. Finish that off. All right. It's all right. So that's pretty well what I want to do with those trees. And get some more paper towel here. All right. Now let's go around the back and let's put on some of this dark base around the background of this water here where this kind of connects. I have a roll of paint, but it's not the right place. I need to get it right on the edge. Right on the edge. There we go. Something like this. Come down like that. Over here. Want this to come along like this. We're going to put some more rocky looking things, or at least some things that look like we got some bank going on over here. A couple of places Don't want that to be identical. And it is, so let's kind of fix that. Put something else in here like this. I can come back, I want to put some snow over the top of that once I get that done. I'll put some snow, we'll blend it into the water below. Back here, I just want a real light touch back there. Along here, we're going to have several places where we're going to have some bank. There. So these are like rocks and stuff sticking out of the bank. Don't have any paint right there. Why don't I have some paint there? Let's put some paint down here. So this is sort of a steep bank right here. Put just some other colors in there. I don't know, mix them all up, put something in there to give it some color and some texture. Put some snow over that in a minute, and I'll make it look like it's really belongs there. Okay, this side over here, we got a bunch of little rocks over here I'm going to work on in a minute, but let's put some of this bank color over here. Let's swoop it down like this, and let me just see what's going on there. So this is sort of a muddy bank that's still there. Didn't get a lot of snow on it yet, but we can put some snow on it. Come on, I need some more paint. The knife's not doing it fast enough. Let's get my fan brush and I'll put it in there faster. So it's coming down too. So we got two of these that are coming down that are kind of different angles, and just defining the edge of this creek, stream, whatever you want to call it. So we can put some rocks in here. This is going to have a little base that's going to run into the water. All right, so much for that. There we go. All right, so now, where are we? We're making good progress here. Okay, cleaned out this big half-round brush here. I want to go back and put some of these branches into the trees that I just put up there. Put a few more, get some liquid thinner here, get this paint very thin. Put a few branches along here that kind of help tell the story up there. I need darker than that. See, it's a lot of subtle value changes here, so you have to be careful that you don't distort the value so you can't tell what's going on. Something like that. Might put a few leaves or something that's kind of falling off of these trees up here. I don't know. All right, that looks like there's some trees going on in the woods back there. I want to move my palette around for the live viewers here. Okay, so let's go up here and put a few more branches here. Let's put a couple out like this. Maybe another one over here. Like this. Let them cross over each other. It kind of helps you see they're all kind of together there. Something like this. That's pretty good. I can come back and just touch a few hit a few spots here to make it kind of blend in with the back, so it looks like we have definitely some leaves or something left on those. Okay, get another fan brush. I'm going to get a smaller fan brush. I'm going to work on some snow around the base of these trees that I have here. So I need more snow, and we're going to probably cover up some of this in the back here. So right in here, I want some snow. Kind of connects with these trees. And again, it's put some on your brush, put the brush over here, then wipe the paint out because it picks up what's underneath it. Big time. I'm using some liquid white and some titanium white together, so I get a thinner paint that's going to fall over what's underneath it. But it just picks up all that paint. You can see how dirty that brush gets in just a matter of seconds. So if you don't do that, don't wipe out your brush, you get mud. And a lot of people complain about getting mud. So I don't need to do too much there. I can come back and put a few white bushes on there. I just want to connect these trees so they are part of the landscape here and they're not separate from it. And I wanted to put something over this rockiness down here to kind of look like it's kind of been snowed over, and there's some snow hanging on top, and maybe a little bit of snow down here in the bottom. Whatever, it doesn't make a... Now we need to connect these back here as well. So very lightly take your fan brush and put some snow over the top and just sort of run it back into snow that's on the canvas. It just softens it up. It gets rid of those hard edges, and it lets you, it looks like instead of those being glued onto the canvas, looks like they're part of the landscape here. Over here we want the same kind of thing going on. We want these trees back here to be part of the landscape back there. Whoops, wrong color. All right, let's see here. Snow back there that's going to connect with this tree. So I'm going to cover up the base of that tree. I can still hear Bob Ross saying, let's put something over his foots. Over his foots. Pull up some things that help change the top of that as well. So we have some, we don't want the top to look like it's glued on either. So we want to make sure we have things going on here, coming down like that. All right, that bluish color we have in the water, I want to sort of extend it underneath now. I'm going to use my violet and blue and with a little white and connect this. We don't want to have these sitting out there like they're glued on from the bottom either. So you want to connect those, put a few streaks across. Same thing here. All of a sudden they look like they're rocks that are laying in that stream when you connect them. Here another similar situation. Okay, so now we've got some interesting colors going on. Some cool and warms. Over here we got some interesting things going on. Where's another? I haven't used any of my yellows. I don't think I'm going to use any yellows or reds in this. I'm going to just keep it this kind of a cool color. So it looks kind of messy over here on the left, looks kind of messy in some other areas. This is, usually you get, painting gets to the point where it kind of looks ugly in some regard. So you have to kind of deal with that a little bit. But I'm going to put some more snow down here and pull it down and blend it in a little bit so that it looks like we got something lighter there and got some snow over here. more white. Use a lot of titanium white here. Over here, same deal. I want to make these all blend together. And put a few bushes over there on the left side. I don't think we're going to put any bushes on the right side, but we're going to have to come back and do this thing with the water here again, right in here. Make these look like there might be some areas that are maybe icy, or I don't know. Just sort of blend it together so that the color of the water or ice, if it's ice, it could be coming through. Same deal over here. Let's put this in. Okay, so we're getting, actually I should be getting it should be getting darker. This blue toward the foreground should be getting darker. And I need to put some more dark in there to make that happen. It helps again, it's another way of working on the perspective. You get the dark sort of in the foreground, gets lighter toward the middle ground, and then at the top it starts changing again and starts getting light to dark again at the top, because we are painting in a spherical type of environment here. See if I put a little bit of, maybe a few snow things on here, lighten this up a little bit. I'm just using the liquid white here now in some areas and just putting some icy looking things there. All right, now, got a few things to do and we'll finish this up. I got to get some more snow back in here. This is not looking the way I want it to yet. There we go. Get some more. There. Get some. I want it to get lighter as we come out here. Get out from under the trees. It should get lighter. So let's make it lighter. Put some clear bumps and snow. There we go. Okay, like this comes over. Okay, this is, I'm going to put some rocks in there. Let's kind of lighten this all up. All right. I say it's kind of hard sometimes to take a photo that's done in a summer scene and turn it into a winter scene, because you have to think a lot about it. I'm going to use the old filbert here. We're going to use a method of double loading the brush, where you load it with like black on one side, and then you come back and get a lighter color on the other side, like maybe white or some off-white. And when you get enough on your brush, you have this double load. You have black on one side and you have the white or a little bit off-white on the other side. Make sure you got plenty of paint there. And then let's go, and we're going to make some rocks in here that sort of, with the white on top, like this. Something like that. Go back, get some more dark paint. Get some more white, light paint. We'll get a little liquid white on there. I can come back and adjust those, but right now I want to put and the white's not coming off the way I want it to, so we'll come back and put the white on there. Okay, that's a start. At least you can try those double loading process. See if you can make some better looking rocks than I did. And again, you want to make those rocks fit in with the whatever they're on. If they're on top of snow, I just dropped my brush in my bright red. Hold on. Brush cleaning emergency. All right, there we go. If it's on top of the snow or on top of the water, you want this to sort of make sure that it connects bottom. Here it's dirt. Here it's dirt. Here it's some dirt. Okay, so we got some rocks in there. They could be done a little better, maybe with a little better white on top. I don't want to overload this, but I want to make sure you see how by just putting a nice bright white top on some of these things, they really stand out like rocks. So over here we got more stuff going on. What the heck? Got a lot of dirt over here. We're going to cover that up. All right, I'm getting about done, folks. Thanks for staying with me. We need some really dark colors in here to sort of break this area up. I want some rocks that maybe don't have snow on them. Have some. This is a big area to just leave it a big rectangle, so we're not going to leave it that way. I'm going to put some more darks in here, and we'll put some bushes with some snow on them here on top of this, and just make it look kind of rough and like maybe a bank would look when you're in the winter time. If you've ever had that experience of going out into the woods and seeing a bank, it's got some rocks floating around on it. Okay, and these rocks could be anywhere. You could have more of them back in here if you want, you know. Whoops, picked up that blue, which I was trying to stay away from. I'm going to put a touch of snow in the grasses in the background. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea, Lindy. Probably I didn't get that background defined quite as well as I wanted. Matter of fact, I might just do that now while we're talking about it. And these little things like this is what I think maybe you're talking about. That's one way to show some snow in the background. But if you just use this bristle brush and just sort of flick up, and you end up with things that look like snow back there. You could have another area, plateau back there that's got some flat land back here with some snow on it. That helps break that up a little bit too. That was a good idea, good suggestion. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to belabor this too much here. I want to get this snow pretty well finished there, and all this stuff on the right. I think I'm going to just start putting in some bushes and cover it up. Some of these areas where we've got, there's a big brush. In here, we're going to put in some bushes that have some snow on top of them. So what we need to do is put the base down first, and I don't know if I'm going to use my fan brush for that. See, let's put down a sort of a reddish, some bushes in here. We're just going to slough in some things that look like they might be some bushes here. Get it looking really ugly. But it has to be dark. You got to be darker than what we're putting on top of it. So you want it to be darker, and we'll come in and put some bushes over it. See how that works. Liquid white, titanium white, and it's going to come in here and like this. Picked up a lot of that brown paint. Clean that brush out. More titanium white, more liquid white, and do one bush at a time. Like that. Okay. There, on the other side, we got some bushes that are going to have a little bluish tint to them over here. Why am I doing that? Because I don't want them to be identical to the ones on the right side. So let's put in a few. Okay. Wipe the brush, titanium white, liquid white. Okay. A little bit more liquid white, titanium white. Come back on this other side here. Let's put in a few more. So I've picked up that dark brown and I've put it up here like that. And then I've picked up the snow, or the white paint I should say, that's going to look like snow. I'm going to put it in below that. There we go. See how that makes one layer look like it's on top of the other layer? It's just contrast. Put a few of these back in here. Something like that. We have a lot of snow floating around here. All right, I don't want to belabor that too long. I think I'm about done here, folks. Maybe put in a few little branches or something here inside these bushes that we have. Ones we just put in. Let's put a few, just a few little things to make them look like there's something holding these bushes up, so it doesn't look like they're just blobs of snow sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. And I'll kind of extend a few of them up like this, maybe. Something like that. Over the other side, let's put a few over here, maybe. Just so there's something holding this snow up. It's not sitting there by itself. Just some gray little trunks. And there's my knife. There's my knife. And we can put in a few other, these kind of help add some more types of things, scrape out a few things like that. I think that's enough. I could spend some more time on this as usual, but I won't. I'm going to get some of this gray color and put my signature on there, unless anybody has a suggestion for something else. I think I'm going to stop on this and sign it right here. Got to get more paint. The name's too long for the paint to hold out. Better get more paint than that. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. All right, I don't think of anything else I can do here. I might put in a few more flicks and with the brush here. Something like that. Maybe a few coming out over these rocks. Kind of put the rocks in the background. Doesn't need much more than that. It's got some interesting colors back there in the background, middle ground. And what do you think, Lindy? Is that background kind of what you were looking for, what you were suggesting in the snow and the grasses in the background here? Some of them look almost too strong. Pull the eye back there. I want to make sure they're not overly distracting. I just want the hint of some snow back there. I should stop. So if we were in a live class right now, somebody would be telling me to stop. But I can fiddle around with this for a long time. All right, I think I like the way that looks. So I'm going to center it up here for you and let you take a look at it. And Looks like a nice little peaceful winter scene. One thing I forgot to do, I was going to put a few bushes on the top of those trees. Why don't I put just, before I say it's totally done, let's put a few, not bushes, but just a light touch of, get me a little of this gray stuff I got going on here on this brush. It's not going to be really heavy. It's going to be very light. Something like this that kind of connects those things to what's there. They could be that dark, I suppose. A couple up here maybe. There, I think that helps maybe a little bit. Kind of make sure those things are connected. I just had these branches sticking out and they weren't holding up anything. And so that says you need to do something to finish it off. Dark, really dark back there in this corner. Put some more dark back here. There, I think that's a little better. At least it looks like it is to me. Again, I'm going to overdo it if I don't stop. Okay, I think that's enough. I keep saying that, and then I go back and do more. Stop. Okay, I'm done. Put a flying bird or two in the thermals might be nice. Well, Lindy, see, there you go. Always thinking about the birds. I don't think about birds for some reason. But these birds are not going to be big. That's one mistake a lot of painters make. They make a great big bird back here that's 300 feet away, and if the thing flew up in your face, it would be a pterodactyl. So these things should just be very small. Can you even see them? Put a third one over here. Should do things in odd numbers. All right, put just a little life in there. Another good suggestion, Lindy. Thank you. But you got me going again. Okay. Got it. Okay, I think I'm going to say I'm done. We've been going a little over an hour, and I've had some fun. I hope you've had some fun. I hope you like this painting. I hope you give it a try. The reference photos are on my website. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, please share this with some of your friends if you like my work. And check out my Facebook page, my website, Patreon site. Those links are all below. Also, my link for the survey I'm taking for 2020. I would like for you, if you haven't filled it out, to please fill it out and help me plan some of my paintings for next year. I'm already getting a sense that people are liking a little more watercolors than they do oils. And they kind of like the way I do this with the computer, going over there and explaining what I'm doing. Full-length videos, narrated, so that seems to be popular. So I don't plan to change any of that. It's just a matter of the mix of oils and watercolors, whether I either do an extra watercolor or every other month I'll do an extra watercolor, something like that. I don't know, I'm thinking about that. But anyway, fill out that survey if you have a preference, and I'll be glad to take that into my thinking when I'm planning. So other than that, I think that's all I want to say to you today and show you today. So thanks for tuning in, and until I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye. There we go. Okay.